Hi, okay, so we are going to take a look at working with zip files, and to do that we're going to go ahead and download a zip file. So I'm on this web page, I'm downloading, it says something.zip right here, so I'm going to go ahead and hit download. And while that's downloading, let's just talk a little bit about what a zip file is. So a zip file is a way that it's a type of file, and what it's used for is that, say we have a directory, like a folder full of other folders and files and all, and you know, there could be hundreds or thousands of files and folders inside of this one main folder, right? Well, what if we wanted to send that over email? It would be very, very difficult to attach each and every file, right? And then once the person got on the other end, they might have to reassemble, you know, and put all those files back in the correct folders. So zip file is a way for us to basically put all those files and folders together into one file, to compress it into a zip folder, or sorry, a zip file. So we compress a folder into a zip file. We can send everything inside the folder, all the files, all the other folders, all the subfolders, over email or something else, and then we can uncompress it on the other end, and it turns back into the original folder. So that's the idea. All right. Okay. So we're going to take a look at creating zip file and then working with zip files. So here we just went ahead and downloaded the zip file. So let's go ahead and find it. So in this case, it went to my downloads folder right here. We can see the zip file. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and move it because I need it somewhere else on the computer. Just for, you know what, we could just go ahead and let's go ahead and make a new folder called zip files. Now, if I was working in class, I might put this somewhere else, right? Okay, so now we're in this inside this folder, right? Now this folder could be anywhere. We could be on our desktop. We could be anywhere. You know, I just isolated the zip file just to demonstrate. Okay, so say I download the zip file. The confusing thing about Windows is that Windows is going to act like the zip file is a folder. So what it will let me do is I can go in and double click it. Right now, if you look at the Explorer bar up here, it says inventor.zip. Well, it appears that I'm in a folder, but I'm not. I'm inside a zip file. So the problem comes when I start to try to open things. So the problem is that when I go in here and I start to double click files, like this looks like it's a file, right? Because it looks like I can double click it and open it in whatever program that I'm going to edit it in, right? But the problem is that when the other program goes and looks for this file, it's not going to be able to find it because it's actually inside of a zip folder, or sorry, a zip file. So that's kind of the weird thing about the way Windows handles it. So when you're in Explorer right here, you can double click a zip file and it acts just like a folder, but it's not. Okay. So what do we need to do in order to access those files? Here's what we need to do. Okay. Now you can do a couple things. You can double click it in Windows. Whoops. Sorry. That's the whole point. You can't double click it in Windows. You can right click it and click extract all. Okay, now this is the standard Windows, like it comes with Windows 7 and up. Okay, so Windows 10, Windows 7. And basically what it does here is, see how it just gives you basically your whole path. Notice this is my entire path up here. It's the same exact thing. So right click extract all. And notice all it's going to do with the default option is just make a new folder with the same name. And so if I click extract, it will start to do its thing. Now the one thing about Windows extraction utility is that it's super duper slow. So this is a very small file. You know, it's 150 megabytes. If this was like a few gigabytes, zip file with the Windows utility can take minutes. You know, so I really suggest utility. Okay, so notice that once it's done, it goes ahead and it opens up the new folder. So what I suggest that you do is, once you unzip this, you go ahead and you delete the original zip file. Okay, so notice that we have a .zip right here, and notice the type. If you can see the type, it says compressed zip file. Now, the interesting thing about Windows is you might not even be able to see this .zip depending on your settings on the machine you're on. Okay, so in Windows we have this option to go to organize, and then folder and search options, and then under view we can go hide extension for known file types and click OK. So this is how the default looks when you first get a Windows computer. This is how it would look. The only way you would know if one was a zip file and one was an actual folder is by looking at the type. So when you see compressed zip folder, or by looking at the icon, it has this what is a little zipper right there. You may also it may look more like this, and it may look more like this. Okay, so now you can really see the zipper depending on your view settings for that particular folder. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put back our ability to see the file extensions, just because it's very, very useful. All right, so once we have extracted the zip file, we're going to go ahead and delete the original file. So we're going to go ahead and click delete. And now what we have is we just have this folder. All right, so now this folder, we can go ahead and open anything we want. All right, and we can work with it just as though it's a regular folder. Now let's say that we want to make a zip file. Okay, so let's say we have a bunch of, let's say a really common thing that happens with people is they have a file that's like, let's say it's on their desktop, right? Okay. Let's say it's on their desktop, and basically they're creating this project. Okay, so this is my project. And inside here, I'm working with a program, let's say like Autodesk Inventor or Windows Movie Maker or making a website, something like that. And basically inside here we have a bunch of files that have to maintain their folder, their folder path to each other. So we could have like a main file and then, subfolders, right? So we got project folder, and we got, I'm just making these as an example, we got new folder, subfolder, and we got new folder, subfolder. Okay, and inside these we got text files, right, or some other kind of document, whatever that might be. Okay, so let's say that we got a bunch of documents in here. Okay, and let's say that these all have to maintain their relationship to each other, right? So these are just examples. Inside here we got just tons of files and stuff that we've made, and we're trying to send this whole thing over to somebody. Right now, this is a really common workflow. All right, so what we really need is we need a way to send this entire folder over, right? Instead of attaching a bunch of stuff to our email. Okay, so in this case, we go to the highest level folder we want to send. The folder that it contains everything else. We right-click on it. And then we go ahead and we go, now notice that that while Windows has a default for uncompressing a folder, for unzipping a folder, right? It does not have a default on this top level right click menu for creating a zip folder. Now, if you have a computer with 7-zip on it, you can just go to 7-zip and we can go add to project.zip, and that will be just whatever the folder name is .zip. Okay, so we click that, and now we have our zip file. Okay. Now, in Windows, the workflow is this. We basically go right-click, we go New, and then we go down and we go Compressed Zip Folder. Okay. And so basically what we have here is we have a zip folder, and what Windows lets us do is rather than compressing this folder directly, just acting upon the folder we want to compress, we create a compressed folder and then we drag the original folder into it. Okay, so now when I open up this folder, zipped folder, notice that now my folder files are all inside there, and I can go ahead and I can send this zip. Windows calls this a folder. It's a file, right? Just like a Word document or a text file. This is a file. Okay, so we can email this. And that's what we'd email. Okay, so I hope that helps with zip files. It's a really convenient way to move things around. It's been around forever. There are other types of compression formats. So when we go right-click and go to 7-zip, other types of compression formats that are very common are RAR, R-A-R, .rar files. 7zip.sz is another one. We can also, if we go to, if we click on 7-zip add to archive, you'll notice that there are a lot of archive formats. So tar, WIM, zip are ones, supported by 7-zip, but there are lots of other ones. and then Linux has tarballs, targz, I think. Okay, so anyway, so that is a zip file, and they're very useful, so I hope that helps.